Hello out there, Foxes fans, and welcome back to another edition of the U.S. Foxes podcast, coming to you live, as always, from all across the United States. I, as always, am your host, Matt Folks. I know it says that I'm Jason below me, but I'm actually Matt Folks, coming to you live from San Diego, California. And tonight, I just got one co-host with me, and that's Mr. Jason Becker over in New York City. How are you, my boy?
I gotta say, like, you normally don't see such a handsome face above my name, and
I was gonna
I
say,
might, I might just start telling people that I look like you.
Oh, look at the switch! What a
No, it's
pro we
just,
got.
ah,
Our professional producer behind the scenes tonight. He's pulling double shifts, doing his normal adult job as well. So we thank Mr. Chris Warner for pushing the buttons and making us sound so good and look so good where he is. Jim Harris, our other co-host down in Texas, is also busy with adult responsibilities. So unfortunately tonight you just got to deal with me, but you luckily get to see the wonderful Mr. Jason Becker over in New York as well. So
yeah.
we got
Our
this, man. We
apologies.
got this.
Yeah, our apologies to everyone who's missing out on their weekly dose of lovely East Midlands accents, but Chris and Jim will be back soon.
That's right. That's right. They do provide that wonderful little blend into our pod. So we miss them, but we will have them back with us soon. Guys, let's dive right into the show. Yet another win. And I tell you what, Jason, it's we're in dreamland right now, buddy. That's coming back to the championship. I don't know if we could literally could not have gotten off to a better start thus far.
Yeah, I mean, got a little scary there right off the bat with a shaky disallowed goal, no VAR to worry about. Still got the call. Like, life feels pretty good in this division, and for me, it, maybe the wins help and make me feel a lot better about things. But just the I don't know. We're just watching football again, without all the other nonsense around there, and I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. And I think last year there was just so much outside of football that we were worrying about that
Mm.
it is really nice to just worry about good football again. And we're having plenty to look at. And it really is cool to see just how this team is coming together. There were so many question marks when you bring in this many new guys. A new manager with who wants to incorporate his stuff. I don't think anyone would have been surprised if we stumbled out of the gate, especially, we've talked about it before, that the chance to stumble against a rival like Coventry so early on. Instead, we find a way to win that. And yeah, we've said it before, guys. It's not only that we're winning, it's how we're winning these games. And Rotherham, just another great win at the end, and really starting to showcase this Enzo style that I think, man, you couldn't have seen a better example of how he wants to play than we did on Saturday, Jason, and just seeing the effects of all these passes at the end of a game, at the end of a match on the opposition.
Yeah, there were some just gorgeous passing plays and sequences throughout the game. One of those obviously leading to McAteer's second goal and the game winner. But when it's on and it's clicking, you can see that the opposition is just running around chasing shadows. Now, the guys are still getting used to each other. Games aren't going to go, the way you want them to go all 90 minutes. But the signs are there that, like, when it's on, when it's clicking, when the players are moving and finding each other, it's very difficult for teams in this division to handle that type of style. We're giving up chances, but at the end of the day, it seems like that fitness and wearing teams down is paying off for us, and that little bit of extra individual quality or former Premier League quality that we have still sprinkled throughout the side is making the difference, or we're taking that extra chance that our opponents aren't.
It really is. And not only that, we just have lots of hungry youth that are really, taking it into their own hands and saying, yeah, I've been here since I was 8 years old in Casey's case. And now I'm getting the chance to shine, and I am not going to miss it. Right off the bat, though, guys, we saw our lineups and a lot of question marks raised when we saw Nwanya Marsal in the side. And then if you heard our manager's comments after the match when wonderful Owen Palmer Atkin was asking him, how does Wanya not get in after scoring that goal last week? And how do you think that is making him feel? And Enzo just simply said, I don't care. And went on to say, that the young guys are going to have to continue to earn their spot, and he's not going to give them anything early, man.
Yeah. Another example of those, Nigel Pearson-esque tendencies of Enzo Maresca, which I think is going to endear him to a good chunk of our fan base. And maybe it seems a bit harsh, but none of us were training with the team through the week, so we don't know. I'll give Enzo the benefit of the doubt right now. Maybe these aren't just mind games, but it is kind of nice to hear something like that. Hopefully, Marcel kind of gets the message and does what's expected of him by the manager. But last season, there were so many times and so many lineups where we would see players that just seemed like they just had automatic spots in the squad, no matter how poorly they played. Yuri Tielemans admitted recently that he had a poor season, and then all of us saw that. We would see it, and he would be the first name on the team sheet
with the armband
on, and that's just not a recipe for success. That's just rewarding futility. And this isn't American sports. You don't get rewarded for futility by the end of the season. You don't get a nice first round draft pick or the first overall draft pick. You get a spot in the second division, and that's what's happened to us. And the culture around the side needs to change, and it is changing. You can see that Enzo is, really putting his stamp all across the team, and it's clear he has very high standards, and that's a good thing.
It's a very good thing. And I mean, it's also you can see just looking at the lineup with Cassidy not starting. I think a lot of people expected after his, that he was going to go straight into the side, and we see him on the bench as well. So I love it. I love that he's saying, yeah, you're hot shit. Congratulations for being all over YouTube with your celebrations. Proud of you. But we got a new week and a new team, and I've got a different idea, and this is how it's going to go. So yeah, props to Enzo for not only doing that, but sticking to his guns.
Yeah. And, this was a big game. I think Rotherham did whatever they could to make this seem like a glamour fixture, blasting Frank Sinatra's New York, New York. So if you close your eyes, you would have thought you were like in the bright lights near Times Square, the crossroads of the world. And, it's a real privilege to get to play city. But seriously though, every game matters right now. And, until promotion is secured, you can't take anything for granted. And the fixtures are going to pile up. We have another midweek game this week, a few tough matches coming up. Hull has, shown that they can, put in some stretches of good performances, and it's going to be a grind. It's going to be a fight. And you can't take your foot off the gas and take anything for granted, because very quickly you can see, Blackburn can tell you, Sheffield Wednesday can tell you last year in League One, Middlesbrough can tell you, like all of these sides can tell you like how quickly things can slip away from you in this division, where it looks like you're cruising to an automatic promotion spot or you're cruising to a playoff spot, and it all comes crashing down. And even when you make the playoffs and you're one of the favorites to go through, anything can happen in those games.
Yeah, and don't forget, guys, injuries are a thing. And, knock on wood, we're going to stay clean of that. But when you just have this many fucking games, dude, that's just it's something that we've got to prepare for.
Yeah, and get the points now. AFCON is this year. So for folks who may not be paying attention, that's the, African Championship. And players like, Iheanacho, Ndidi, they'll be gone for a whole month,
right,
to play in that tournament. And, teams can very quickly catch up to you during that stretch.
for sure. I do. I love that you pointed out the Frank Sinatra thing because you close your eyes and you're in the West Village and not West Yorkshire. So that's good. Shout out to them. Let's talk a little bit about the match specifically, guys. After those lineups come out, they actually score the first goal, but it goes off. A lot of people are asking why Rotherham's goal was disallowed. If you watch back, you can see it does go off the guy's shoulder. But in the bar at the time, we were like, we saw, Mads get pushed over, quote unquote, and a lot of people thought that's what it was. Some people thought it was offside. Some
I
people
thought it was offside. I thought they said it was offside in the end.
According to the call at the time, and maybe they changed it later on, 5 minutes later in the match. We didn't have sound because Arsenal was also going on, but they said that it had hit his shoulder. So maybe
I was listening to the halftime analysis with Matty Elliott, and I think he said based on we didn't know, and that's actually kind of nice, actually. Just like, okay, we'll take our luck there. The player doesn't touch the ball goes in the net, and you really didn't have to do anything there. You could have just let it go, but they seemed to suggest that it was offside, but there was a lot of confusion there, and there was it was a big time, hearts and mouth moment there, and a lot of folks were suggesting that this could be a real banana skin game, and we almost slipped up right there in the beginning.
Yeah, that early to go down and then be playing from behind. Not that we don't have the quality to do it, but that would have been another extra hill to have to climb. So I may these results keep happening like this, because you just know that we're gonna have 10 of these go against us at some point this year, where it's a rogue fucking bounce or something that no one sees and the call comes back. So right now, let's ride it out and enjoy them while they're happening, because a few minutes later, Casey McAteer, the academy prospect since he was 8 years old, scores his first goal for the club on just an absolute beautiful assist from Iheanacho, who takes the ball completely deep and then pops it over the top to a waiting McAteer, who really doesn't have to do anything but just touch his head to it to put it in. So very special moment for a kid like him. We saw it last week with Marsal, but man, you just get goosebumps when you think about a kid being 8 years old and starting at this wonderful club and then finally getting it all pays off.
There. Shades of John Starks dunking over Michael Jordan, half the Bulls team back in the 90s. It was just completely posterized the defender. Hell of a little shake and bake, if I got to stay with the American sports terms, by Iheanacho to just totally shake his defender off and give him the couple of yards of space to float the ball to the back post. But before that play even started, it was just a really awesome, just calm moment by Harry Winks, and I just love watching him when he's got his back when he's facing our goal, receives the ball, how he just slips past that first line so easily. He just slips right past the forwards pressing and did it again. Just calmly took the ball, turned, and all of a sudden he's past two players, has space in front of them, plays a great long ball to Mabadidi. Eventually they win a throw in, but that's what leads to the play. And I think by the end of this season, I mean, we're all going to see that was a great piece of business to bring in Harry Winks, and he gives us that calmness and that leadership in the middle of the pitch. And then so many good things happen when the ball gets to his feet. But it was a great play. Iheanacho, shows he doesn't always have to score goals to make a huge contribution to the team. And McAteer just was on the same wavelength as him and just wanted it so badly and just came flying in. And it was a really just good goal all around.
Yeah, we're seeing it every week. The calming presence that Harry Winks has just put in it. It is like he's two steps ahead of everyone, even some of our players. He'll sometimes play balls and you can tell that our guys are surprised by how good the ball is because they're not in position for it. I tell you what, a lot of people were, upset that we didn't get the 50 million, the full 50 for James Madison. But if you just consider what we got wings for now, I mean, and we saw Matters have a man of the match performance for Tottenham as well that day. So right now, I'm totally good with how that has all worked out. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, we could always use a little bit more money. It just, it still stinks, and it was still a big time failure for us to be in the position we were, and not to have any leverage there with those deals. But I'm also totally fine, just like moving on from Madison and those players, and fully supporting the team that we have. We have a lot of guys here that clearly want to be at Leicester. I mean, Winks had options, and he chose to be with us. Casey McAteer is out there playing for his club, and you can see how much it meant to him. And these are the kind of stories that, I want to see, and I want to support, and, not like just the silliness of last season. This is like when we talk about enjoying football again, rooting for guys like Harry Winks, rooting for Casey McAteer. That's part of it too. And it's really enjoyable, and to have those kind of characters and personalities and stories to get behind this year.
Yeah, and long may continue. Halftime pretty much comes up with the first half. We looked very strong the whole time, and then halftime happens, and man, we came out pretty damn flat, which is a reoccurring thing thus far this season. What are your thoughts on the boys coming out that flat and just really overrun for a minute there by Rotherham?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just wondering if there was just maybe just like some information overload there, or sometimes when you keep the intensity that high and then you step away from the pitch, maybe it makes it difficult. It might have been a little bit of a letdown too. Mavididi had a great chance, later in the half. He really could have put the game away, and so maybe they felt like there was a little bit of a letdown there. And it was to like completely let Rotherham back in the game when really should have been able to put it to bed a lot earlier.
Yeah, they score in the 54th then, and just take advantage of how we are just looking completely dull and dead. And it's kind of a weird goal they scored. I mean, it looked like he was covered, and it's just kind of one of those weird headers where it rolls off the back of the guy's head, and Mads couldn't get to it. He was surprised by it. So just kind of a weird, shitty play. And I think it really served to just kind of spark the guys and be like, shit, yeah, we haven't won this yet. Let's kick into it. And not only that, I think it also the same for Enzo, as we see some once again just some incredibly good substitutions by him. And I don't know if we're just giving him too much credit thus far, or if it's just that we've saw so many terrible head scratching what the fuck substitutions from Brendan for so long that it's thus far the subs have just been incredible coming from Enzo. And Jamie Vardy comes on and is just a spark for us.
Yeah. The goal was disappointing because like Mads, Yannick, Colin Doyle, they just like all like turned off, and it like really sloppy with the ball too on the side, and it was just like a bad goal. Like everyone just switched off, and but maybe that's what we needed to kind of. Sometimes you need to get hit in the face to wake up a bit, and that's what happened there too. And so far, Enzo is pushing all the right buttons. When we needed a goal to win a game or to get back into a game, it's happened, and it's generally happened after he's made the substitutions, and he did it again. Vardy came on and looked lively. He was making a lot of had a good chance that was blocked, was kind of pressing defenders really well, trying to link up 1-2s with Mavididi. And Cassidy comes on, man, and like everything he does has a purpose.
Right.
He's such a positive player, and he's very assertive on the pitch too, which is really good to see from a young player. He's like demanding the ball back and trying to make something happen, pushing out to the right side, getting into the middle, pushing into the box. He's always trying to like make something happen, which is really cool.
Yeah, you can definitely see why Enzo is so big on him, because we've heard in like honestly, I think straight interviews now, when it whether it's with OPA or someone else is interviewing Enzo, they ask about a particular player, and almost every single time Enzo goes back to the player's work off the ball being more important to him than their work on the ball. And you really, when you watch Cassidy and you watch Harry Winks and McAteer, I thought this game
Yeah.
was in spaces. Just he was showing up in spots that were just, it was incredible, man. Like teleporting, it seemed like, and you can really see why Enzo is picking these players that are so smart and getting into these positions, because his style is completely reliant on having those options for when you have the ball. And if you don't have guys getting into those positions, we have guys dead on the ball and turnovers happening.
Yeah, and it forces the other team to chase you all over the pitch, and another way to wear down the opposition. But yeah, McAteer also, yeah, he worked his balls off, man. He worked so hard on the pitch. It's so good to see a young player doing that, and just get those instant rewards for the effort that he put in.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just go right to the finisher. Just an absolute beautiful move. Cuts back to the, I thought he had maybe lost it when he was trying to get to the right, and then he just swings it back and just sends a curler in. It's just a dream. That the header to start off the game for him to get his first goal, but then to just put the game away at the end like that. It's the stuff out of a movie, dude. Like, what a finish.
Yeah, it was a great play too. It was like some really nice passing before then, and then Callum Doyle to cross that ball from the left side all the way over to the right side of the box, like perfectly pinged pass. And it was a tough take. I think it was a tougher take than people are realizing for McAteer, because he did kind of like fumble it a bit, but the ball was just played so perfectly that the defender thought he had a chance at that header and
Yeah, he
jumped.
definitely did.
Yeah, and so McAteer's got to wait to see what happens there. And he did not have much time, but at least he was able to get in front of the ball, keep it in front of him, kind of get it back into control. And he was like smart enough in that whole sequence to kind of fake like he was going to put it across with his right foot and use that to bring it onto his left. And he just drilled it in. Just nothing the keeper can do. Like, even though he got his hand on it, there's just too much on it. And like, to see the away end start cascading down the way it did, and like middle-aged men getting shoved back by the stewards and security, and just the way in went nuts. The team went nuts. McAteer was loving it, and I think everyone just felt so good for him. And it was a really nice moment at the end of the celebration where he kind of just like was hugging everyone, getting into it, and then ripped Casaday's arm off of him so he could turn around, go like back to the away end and kiss the badge. And you just knew he wanted, like, it must have just felt like a dream to him. And I think, all of us as fans, I think when we think of like what we would want to happen in our careers if we were to play football, like that's the moment, right? That's the moment that everybody would want to be able to score a goal like that for your team in front of your away end to win a game.
I've watched it multiple times now, and you know what? It's kind of reminiscent of that goal that it reminded me of. A little less shake and bake on this one, to use your term from earlier, but it reminded me of Riyad's goal against Chelsea a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
Against Azpilicueta when he right left, and then switch and just tucks that thing in on the curler with the left foot. So anytime that we are making references to the greatest player that some say have ever played for our club, I think it's a good thing. So so happy for the kid, and may it continue, because we're going to need him this year.
Yeah, I think there are going to be opportunities for him, and not just on the right side. I think he might get some chances in the middle too, as a midfielder, playing an attacking role. And he's shown that he's willing to be brave on the pitch, and yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see like how he slots in. So he's not Enzo's top choice to play right back, but right wing, but he's doing whatever he can to force himself in those plans. And Enzo's not afraid to kind of move people around into different positions, like what he's doing with Ricardo. He played playing in Didi as a number 8, like in a more advanced role. So people who have followed McAteer through his time at the club say that he can do a job in the middle of the park, and we'll see if he'll get that chance to do that, because we just brought in another winger, but performances like that, I mean, when Marcel scored a goal and then he was out of the lineup completely, but
we'll see what 2 goals means to Enzo.
So we'll see. Maybe 2 goals keeps him in. Right?
Yeah, and props to those boys, because it would be real easy to get a shitty attitude with the news that we've added another winger and possibly even another winger. At the time of this recording, it's not confirmed totally, but it does seem like there are 2 wingers now coming in. So got to give Wanya and certainly Casey props for taking the game and just saying, fuck you got to think about me too, man, because that's all you can ask for, man, is performances and making the manager have a tough decision to make. That's only good for the club.
Absolutely, 100%, and it sealed the game. It really, like, after that there was just one scare. I still don't even know what happened with Bonifaz and how he went down, and if he even got hit at all, if he just missed the ball. But other than that, that was it. Like the just completely deflated Rotherham, and they just didn't have anything left in the tank. All of that passing that we were talking about earlier, all that possession, that off the ball movement, which McAteer was doing quite a lot of that all over the pitch. It wore them down. They had nothing left in the tank. We go up 2-1. Last 15 minutes of that game, they barely pressed the ball. We were able to just keep it, pass it around the back. Vardy had some nice link ups. I was, I really wanted Vardy to get one for old time's sake against Tyler Blackett. Anyone who remembers that great 5-3 win back in 2014, one of the greatest games, I think, in league history. Vardy absolutely terrorized Tyler Blackett all game long, and I could see
the fun reunion. Yeah,
he's gonna have flashbacks to that game, but it wasn't to be. But Vardy looked good. He looked lively out there, and again, Enzo likes what he does, and Vardy's he's taking on. I think he's really embracing a more of a leadership role this year. You can see it in his social media posts after games and congratulating all the young players, but going out there and just putting in another professional shift to make sure we saw the game.
It really is great to see, and that off the bench role for him is so perfect, because it's perfect for shithousing too. Like, he can just come on and do it. And I think these last 2 matches have just been, he's getting better and better in that role, and really, really affecting the offense and affecting the play, whereas he just had kind of disappeared when we saw him play the 90 earlier this year. So I'm so excited for that. But yeah, dude, let's take a quick second to talk about this Enzo style here, because we've heard it depending on who you watch games with, but lots of people moaning about playing from the back and what are all these pitches, and get it, the famous phrase, get it forward. How many times people have had to hear that this year. In hopefully now, after that performance, I don't think you could ask for a better example of what Enzo's style is doing to these teams, you guys. These back passes and these short movements and things like that. Yeah, it might not be the most exciting style to watch at the time, but it is what is causing these end of game moments to happen for us, if that makes sense. If I said that eloquently enough. We are breaking these guys down, and they're chasing and they look dangerous on us in the beginning of matches and when we come out in the first half. But holy shit, from the 80th minute on, guys, in that game, those guys were just dead. And whereas usually when you have a 2-1 lead and you're so nervous about one misplaced pass or a striker being able to intercept the ball and get on a breakaway or something happening where they might be getting a chance to, tie it up some way, somehow, I never once was scared because they all just looked so dead. Like by the time they would even get close to our guys, we would have passed it 2-3 times and the guys just running in circles. And it really was proof positive that Enzo has a style. This is going to be it. And it's working.
Yeah. I think, if you're patient enough, you reap the rewards towards the end of the game. And, look, we all like to be entertained, right? We want to see action and we want to see football, but we still have those moments and those breaks and that exciting one-on-one play. We get a lot of wing play with this setup. But I mean, how many years now would we just watch games just knowing that we're going to blow a lead? And how many times have we blown leads in just spectacular fashion, historic fashion? And it was embarrassing. I think it was not professional, and it was just too stressful to watch games. And now things can change. We're getting a little bit of luck, and the results. We're not going to win 46 games in the league this year, and we might go through a rough patch. But it's really encouraging to see that the team is seeing out games or coming back and scoring goals if they need to late. And I think you nailed it. Like, you're absolutely right, Matt. Like, this style, when done and played properly, or not even playing perfect football, but we're just doing well enough,
right,
that it's really wearing out the opposition, because they're not, that teams in this division don't set up to play against that kind of possession. It's a little bit more of a direct style of football, and teams are kind of playing very, very vertical football against each other. So now when you have to kind of recalibrate and set up against a system that you don't play against week in and week out, it really takes a lot out of you. And I mean, how many times we'd had the ball in the last 10 minutes of the game, and the Rotherham forwards couldn't even press. They were just standing just dead at the halfway line, and it's wouldn't even press the defenders. Don't you you want, if you're watching your team in that position and you need a goal, you want to see some pressing. You want to see the guys force it, and they physically couldn't.
No, it was a lot of head down stuff. Like, you would see us make a pass and another pass and then a pass back to Mads, and you could almost literally read the body language on their striker. He'd put his head down and just run, like, oh shit, I got to make an effort here, but I'm so fucking dead. There's no way. And he's just going to pass it as soon as I get close. So it is really, really fun to watch, and such a change. And I don't know how you could not feel confident in where we are right now, between this style that is starting to form and starting to take shape. And yeah, guys, haven't played Norwich yet, haven't played Southampton yet, but the fact that we are winning games like this in this style, grinding them out, and then obviously finishing teams, and we have reinforcements coming in, and we have guys challenging and fighting for spots on the wing, and competition is happening in the club, and you have a manager. And a few weeks ago he did that interview with Owen, and a lot of guys were like, man, he really revealed a lot about his playing style. And did he reveal too much there? I think that's just Enzo being so confident that we're going to set up this way and come and try and break it down. And I'm going to tell you exactly how we're going to play. And I still challenge you to try and break it down. So, man, I'm feeling so confident, bud. It's just things are looking great.
Well, okay. So there are two of us. And I think maybe it should be my role here to play a little bit of devil's advocate. And listen, perfect. I'm not trying to piss on anyone's parade here. I'm enjoying this too, right? Sure. I think there are a lot more reasons to be confident. There are reasons to, be negative. And it's fun to be positive again. And again, we're watching football to share in these experiences and to, enjoy ourselves and to have fun, right? Haven't really completely blown a team out of the water yet in the division. All right, we've given up gift wrap chances most games that other sides should have put away. And I guess the third thing is here, we're very married to this one system. We haven't had to change yet and play a different way. And unless you're the best team in the world, you're going to have to change something up at some point. And will Enzo do that when necessary? We don't know. Like, it still remains to be seen, and we have to see what happens when the side's in that position, if we have a plan B, or if it's just like my way or the highway, and this is how we're going to play football until the very last second of the game. So there's still a lot of unknowns. We still don't know exactly what the final 25-man roster is going to look like, and we don't know what Enzo's going to do if he's forced into that position again. And on the flip side, that is kind of fun. It is kind of exciting. It's nice to have an unknown. It's nice to just like, all right, well, let's see what happens when we get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Exactly. And we don't know. And like I was saying, in a few weeks ago, like it kind of feels like the way life used to be when things were like fun and new and novel and you didn't know everything. And sometimes you'd go out and you didn't have GPS and you didn't have Google Maps on your phone and you could just get lost. And sometimes you open up a door and, there's some crazy party in there that you like didn't expect to see. And then, you just met some, anything could happen. Right. We don't know. We don't know yet. Yeah. So the signs are there. Obviously, there are still things to fix, but also, you got to remember that Enzo's only been here for what, 2 months?
2 months. Yeah. That's insane in itself, dude.
So, and we have transformed the way we play.
We have.
Which is, and as they keep playing together, it should, right? Theoretically, like it should just get better and better and better as the players get comfortable. But pretty soon there's going to be a big catalog of footage of Leicester City, and one of these managers is going to, think he's figured out the way to unlock us, and it'll be interesting to see how we respond to that.
Yeah, really will. And it's yet another identity for us. I mean, being the big dog in this league after 8 years in the Prem that saw us go from, holding on by the hair of the skin of our teeth, I guess, and then winning the league and then becoming a regular Premier League team that was, in the prime of Brendan Ball, 5th place right in that area where we were beating these lower level teams. And now, man, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but here we are.
Well, you use a good word there, identity. And Matt, like for the last 2 years coming into the season, what was the Leicester City way? How did Leicester City play football? I mean,
exactly. Whatever like Brendan made up at the end,
brilliance, try to pass the ball, not have a clear plan, and just I don't know, just
pass it to Madison
and take things for
granted.
That was
pretty much the identity last year. Pass it to Madison.
Yeah, and so when we won the league, we knew exactly how we played football. There was a Leicester City idea, right? And there was a signature way to play and go about business. And then we strayed from that and completely lost it. And there was no identity. There was no system that we could implement in the youth setup and bring players up that would slot into the system to find young players. So like when we go through our inevitable injury crisis under Brendan Rodgers, we'd just have, we've got a stable full of kids here, could step right in, who know the Leicester City way. There was such a disconnect between the academy and the first team. Chris, really put it really well, towards the end of last season, just talking about that. And now we've got an identity. There's a real clear idea about how to play football the Enzo way. Hopefully it gets us straight back up. but there was an idea. There's an identity that we haven't had, and you can see it in the signings that Enzo's making. You can see it in the way that we're playing football, and hopefully we'll see this in how we build out the academy, so that there is a clear path, and that when Leicester City comes to town like that, everyone's on the same page. And
Definitely.
Nobody was on the same page from the top of the club to the bottom, from the director of football to the commercial side to just the academy to the first team manager, the players. There was just so much disconnection. And now, like, there's one way, there's a path here, and this is how we're going to do things going forward. And it's a healthy way to run a football club.
Definitely. And I think there's, I'm just obviously being really optimistic when I say shit like this, but I'm seeing like a correlation between what you said when the year we won it. You knew what was coming at you when you lined up against Leicester City. You knew it was going to be the Vardy Mahrez show. Like, Conte was going to stop everything that you tried, but you knew what was coming at you, and we still did it. And I feel like Enzo is bringing that same thing. Like, this is how we're going to play, and fucking try to stop us. And I think that's what we have to look for going forward. So good stuff. Before we go any further, though, we did want to hear from our man at the ground, Mr. Ollie McLean. He made the trip to West Yorkshire for us and wanted to share his thoughts, as always, how that went. So, Chris, whenever you're ready, you want to give us Ollie's little captured.
Hey Matt, hey US Foxes, hope all is well. Just a quick one on yesterday's game against Rotherham. 2-1, top of the league, unbeaten, 100% record, thanks to Casey McAtee and his 2 goals. A lovely winner, to be honest. A fantastic strike. I thought he messed it up a little bit with that first touch, but got it back under control, to be fair to him. And yeah, saw out the rest of the game, 2-1 up, and support was good as always yesterday. Wasn't a pretty performance, but it never has to be. Once again, I know I keep saying it, and don't like to say it, but Yannick Vestergaard once again was up there. He did well yesterday. Well, nobody did. He did terribly badly, but there was a couple off performances, but everyone's allowed a bad day. But yeah, we come into game number 4 unbeaten, 5 in total if you include Burton. But yeah, life is good right now at the top of the league. I just hope that we can continue this for the duration of the season. And it's going to get difficult. We know that. We know it's going to get very, very difficult. But yeah, we can only hope and pray that these lads keep putting in performances. Let's just stop leaving it late, Leicester, because it's giving me massive anxiety leaving it till the 80+ minute every week. But no, if we get the 3 points, we get the 3 points. That's the main thing. And yeah, buzzing to get to Tranmere on Tuesday. Never thought I'd be saying them words, but hey, here we are. But yeah, as always, we'll keep following. We'll keep the faith, and let's keep this win streak up. Why not? For the City.
Shout out and thank you to Ollie, as always, for his amazing insight. And yeah, I don't know, man, if he got anxiety. I was just feeling so confident that we were going to get something out of that, because they were so broke down, and I was just like, something's coming here. So yeah, shout out to Ollie.
It's why it's good to have the perspective of someone who's there at the game, who's going home and away, right? Because, I'm sure a lot of the folks who are listening are watching the broadcasts around the States, and things look different and feel different when you're there in the stadium. And it might be why some, American fans have really taken to Enzo's style, because we're watching a lot of the game from above. from the camera angles there, and you're seeing a lot of the movement. But you know, when you're out, sometimes at a bar, when you're at the game, you know, if there's, you know, a sense of anxiety from any pocket, kind of spreads right through everyone. We know that feeling, and things do look a little different. And you know, they would have been right there when Rotherham scored, thought they scored their first goal.
Yeah.
And, you know, and not really hearing and seeing what went on, why it was called back or not. And so right off the bat, you're starting the game, you know, with some anxiety there. But again, though, you can see like it's just getting that sense from Ollie, that's just like how good it is to just like go to be there, right? And to go away, and how he's looking forward to going to see Tranmere, going to Tranmere away. And so like, you know, wouldn't have imagined him, you know, himself saying those words, but like that's what happened now. And it is great. I mean, that part is like so special, right?
Yeah, it really is. And to as he jumped right in, he's looking forward to Tranmere, guys. Tranmere Tuesday. We're in this time of the season where this is going to start happening quick and fast. And Tranmere Rovers playing them in the cup. They got through after beating Barnsley in early August on penalties. So that will be a fun challenge for us. In how they're doing so far in the league, it looks like they started off with a loss to the MK Dons. Then they beat Harrogate Town 3-0. Then lost to Salford City 4-3. And then Notts County beat them 2-1. So they're kind of all over the place, but it should present a unique challenge for us playing a League Two team. And also, can't lie, this is a great draw for us as well. So it'll be a good time also for Enzo to kind of switch up the side and get some, you know, I would expect Stolarczyk to get a chance in net. And you got to figure Wanya gets a chance in this side as well after missing Saturday. I think we'll see changes all over the place.
Yeah, we'll see some changes, I think, for sure. Maybe Justin gets his chance to start again and get some game time in and get some minutes and kind of slot into the system. But one thing that's not going to change is a name on Tranmere's team sheet. So in 2000, Leicester played Tranmere Rovers in the League Cup final, which is was the last League Cup final played at the old Wembley. Leicester won 2-1. There was an 18-year-old goalkeeper in net for Tranmere, Joe Murphy, an Irish player. In 2000, he's with Tranmere now.
42 years old.
There is a chance that he might be playing 23 years later, playing us again, which would be amazing. And that League Cup final, like, very historic. It was the last League Cup final, won in Wembley, so it's great to see that. Like, you know, Leicester did it. I would think it was our third final in 4 years at Wembley. It was kind of like our home away from home.
Away from home, yeah.
You know, under Martin O'Neill, we were constantly going to Wembley. The referee got taken off the pitch injured in the 62nd minute, and the fourth official had to come in and take over refereeing duties. Matt Elliott, absolute legend, scored 2 goals off corners to seal the game for us. He had a pretty eventful game. He kind of, you know, got skin bit on Tranmere's goal. They had gone down a man and equalized, but then, you know, Matt Elliott came through again and scored his second goal off of a corner that day to win us that League Cup final and get us back into Europe.
And now he's the voice of the Foxes at halftime. Like, what else can you ask for? It's amazing.
Well, if I could ask for anything else, and it'd be for Mr. Elliott to make another trip over to New York. We had a hell of a time with him and Steve Walsh back in 2018, and I really hope we could all do that again soon.
That would be great. So yeah, guys, Prenton Park, that's where they play in Birkenhead, right across the right across the Mersey from Liverpool. So shout out to anybody making that trip. Be loud, be proud. And for our U.S. fans and other fans around the world, not going to be on TV. So you're going to be needing that Fox's Hub package to even listen to the match. So that kind of sucks. Not going to lie. Although I thought I saw on Fox's talk that some Australian Foxes said it was going to be on TV.
I don't know, man, because every time I see like one random country listed, like sometimes you're like looking for a broadcast and then you just see like Bosnia listed on live soccer TV. You're like, oh, someone is just screwing with us.
Yeah.
Setting someone on a wild goose chase to find a link for a half hour. I don't know. I mean, I didn't see any countries listed there. The club went out today and said it's not going to be on TV anywhere. So we'll see. I mean, we're not encouraging piracy here or anyone breaking any laws, but
correct.
It might be a throwback, and you might have to listen to the game again. I know that when we were, had started New York Foxes, and we were in the second division at the time, and for a few years there were some times where we showed up thinking that there was going to be a broadcast, and there wasn't, and grabbed one of the laptops there at the bar and said, well, screw it. We're going to listen to the radio broadcast and just, sit around the computer and do that. And so, we might have a day or two like that this year again, for old time's sake.
Yeah, we're definitely back in the laptop world. As if you came to the bar, you'd see the San Diego Foxes. 2 weeks in a row now, we've had the laptop with a 15-foot HDMI cord all the way up to one of the big TVs in the back. So shout out to the Bluefoot though for making that happen. Because I got to say, Fox's Hub has been very impressive thus far. When we talk about some of the, and for some of the newer fans, you won't be familiar with this, but some of the forays into the digital world that Leicester have attempted in the past when official Foxes were around. It's been ugly. So I got to give a shout out to whoever's behind the scenes and making that happen, because thus far we have not had a single damn problem. Knock on wood, with Fox's Hub, Jason.
Yeah, like back in the day, you can count on three things: death, taxes, and whatever streaming service the club had not working on the first game of the season. But so far, so good. I've seen other clubs with their broadcast services have issues. 2 weeks ago, Middlesbrough, their stream is just not ready. I think for like 10, 15 minutes into the game, and people are trying to figure out what's going on. It's happened to other clubs, but so far so good. We got those I don't know what to say about them. Those the King Power and other ads at halftime, which
the best
make me feel like I'm in like a fever dream, or but probably subsidizing the
that's all that matters, exactly.
Broadcast there, even though we are paying a good chunk of change out of our own pockets to watch these games. But so far, so good. And got to give credit where it's due. So far, the club, I think, have done a fantastic job in providing decent broadcasts to everyone. And a lot of folks may not know this here in the States, but if a game is picked up on Sky, like those are the games, like those nationally televised games in the UK, those are the games that get moved on to ESPN Plus. And that's why we get to watch those games on ESPN Plus. The other games that you're watching on Fox's Hub are just not available in the UK. You cannot watch them. UK subscribers of Fox's Hub cannot watch those games through the service. And the blackout rules are strict. It was like that in the Premier League too. If they had a 3 p.m. UK time kickoff on a Saturday, chances are, like, if you weren't at the game, you're not going to be able to watch that game over there. And that's the case again here. And if you're in the States, you get to watch games that local fans are still unable to watch unless they, pick up a dodgy stream somewhere and want to chance things with a VPN. So it's just, some perspective to keep in mind as we're watching, all the games this year.
Yeah, truly spoiled over here, you guys. And it sounds so fucking crazy to say this, that we have better access to this club than, supporters that are literally sitting in, Leicester right now. So it's silly. It's ancient. It is. We've seen it here with the NFL and Major League Baseball and NBA. It's gotten better slowly over the years. And hopefully we can only hope that one day we get to a point where our UK listeners can see every fucking match, because that's a disgrace, man.
Yeah, and that particular thing isn't on the club. It's just that
Sure,
those are the
right,
laws, right? Those are the
right.
broadcast rules in the UK, and so I'd also just remind everyone that and I don't think I have to say this actually to anyone who is crazy enough about the club to be listening to us, but I think that the groups like San Diego Foxes, we try to do this in New York, and what we all try to do is kind of remind everyone and a lot of the more casual fans that, like, this isn't a TV show, right? Like, this is a local club that people are very passionate about, and it's not a TV show. And get out there and like support the community. Go to Leicester when you can. Go to an away game. Try to get your tickets and try to make that trip. Try to make that pilgrimage when you can, because you're going to have a very, very different experience. And people are starting to feel it again, where it's special again to go to games. And if all goes according to plan and we get promoted, we may not play at some of these stadiums again for a long time. And I mean, that's the plan, right? The club wants to get right back into the Premier League, and not have to take these trips to Rotherham away. So we have an opportunity to go to different places in the country this year, to see different grounds, to interact with different fan bases that we haven't had over the last few years. So if you're in the States and you have the opportunity to go, really take advantage of it, because this season may not be like any season we will have again for a very long time.
Yeah, God, hopefully we get another 10 years in the Prem. That'd be amazing. But man, that's such a good point. There's going to be grounds and things that we see this year that you won't believe. And you talk about everybody's freaking out about Luton Town's ground now being in the Prem, and that's a perfect example of some of the stuff that's out there, and even how Filbert Street used to look. So great point. We're at almost an hour and we haven't even talked about Hull City on Saturday, guys. Another 7 a.m. kickoff at the KP. Last time we played Hull, I was looking this up because it's been a minute. 2017. There was a friendly between there, but not counting that. But listen to this lineup from 2017. This was Gold Patch. Obviously, we had the Gold Patch. So Casper, Danny Simpson, Wes Morgan, Robert Huth, Christian Fuchs, Drinky, Ndidi is starting them. So Ndidi had just come in there, and he's sitting in that mid role. And then Mahrez, Okazaki, Albrighton, and Vardy finish out your starting lineup there.
So is this the Hull at home or Hull away?
This was the
Hull
3-1 late win. Yeah.
Because the first game against Hull that year, we started the season against Hull. And Hull couldn't even put up a full bench.
It was 9, right?
It was our, and we lost
2-0. Yeah.
And we lost. So don't take any game, any week, any league that you're in for granted, because, anyone on their day can take you. And, Hull has proved it to us.
Time and time again. Islam Slimani on the bench, Damari Gray bench, Chilwell, Andy King, Dan Amari, Ron Roberts Zealer, and Leo Yajoa line out that side that we played. Christian Fuchs scores a goal in the 27th minute. Then Mahrez puts one in the 59th. And then Tom Huddleston scores an own goal in the 90th, 1 minute after receiving a yellow card. So fun times, guys, back in those days.
Well, listen, we have a bit of a connection with Hull, and it's where we got Harry Maguire from, and
he was playing against us, actually.
Yeah, who made us quite a lot of money. So, and then whatever has happened to his career since then.
Yeah, who knows? Hull currently sitting in 8th place in the league. You guys, they are 2-1-1, 7 points, and scored 8 goals thus far. So they've actually scored more goals than us, which is interesting by 1. So hopefully you come out and put a strong side together. Thus far, it looks good, and yeah, the KP should be rocking.
Yeah, and the transfer window will close on Friday. So if there are any late deals, anyone registered before noon UK time on Friday can play on the Saturday. So we'll see if there's some late business. There's going to be some late business this week.
Yeah.
I'd say everyone, keep your eyes peeled. There's, we have a lot of players that we need to kind of shift and move on. And Enzo seems to be very determined to get the club to bring in, at least another player or two that fit his eye and his profile. So it's going to be an interesting week. We've got to, we may see our new signing Akon come in on Tuesday. Don't know yet, and so I guess it's part of that beauty of being in the unknown again and embracing it and kind of taking things 1 week at a time. And I think that's why we're should have enjoying this so much, because it is new. Oh, it clearly has nothing to do with the fact that we've won 5 games in a row. Right?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, don't care about 12 points already, 4 games in. But speaking about Akun, real quick, another Turkish guy on our team. Will he be a Muzzy Izzet Kaglar type, or will he end up being more of an under type? We can only hope that he fits the former instead of the latter. He has worked with Enzo before, so I love that we're seeing a direct connection between our recruiting and our coach, which in the past we know has definitely not been the case. And it does seem like we're bringing in guys that Enzo wants.
Yeah. So, Enzo worked for, one of his former managers, and it was a nice little blast in the past too. And you consider you're just reading our 2017 lineup. Here's another name a lot of folks may not have thought about in a while: Gökhan Inler. And Akun played with Gökhan Inler, and Inler had a lot of great things to say about going to Leicester, and I think that helped him make his decision. Soyuncu seemed to be very supportive of the move too, which was nice to see. And Akun clearly knows a bit about the club. Had some really good quotes about the club and the history and what he wants to do with us. And for people who might be a little unfamiliar with him, plays mainly on the right wing. Really high, very, very highly rated Turkish, player, young player. He went on loan 2 years ago to Adana in Turkey and had a great season. I think he had 17 goal contributions for the season. Wow. Went back to his parent club, Galatasaray. That was his boyhood club. He's been there since he's a kid. Grew up as a Galatasaray fan, and a lot of people say that maybe the pressure was a little too much for a young player to kind of go into that role and to play for Galatasaray. And anyone hasn't watched the Turkish league before, those games are intense, particularly those Istanbul derbies. So we've been able to get him. That looks like it's a loan deal with an obligation to buy that would kick in if he makes 25 appearances. I'm sure if he does well and doesn't make the required number of appearances, that we'll try to sign him, or there may be some other clause in the deal. But there's a really high ceiling with him. Again, a lot of unknowns. We don't know what we're going to get from him, but he does look exciting. He looks like he probably needs a new challenge, and I'm looking forward to see him. We did see a bit of him. He played at Molde in a Champions League qualifier last week. Looked great. Got an assist. Had a really well taken goal that was called offside from the build-up. But a lot of people said he was, who watched the game also agreed that he was one of the more dynamic players on the pitch. So hopefully we get a bit of that from him.
Awesome. Well, man, Gökhan Inler. God, Number 33 in your program, number 1 in your heart. God, I love that, man. Everyone on that side, I just see their faces, and I just immediately just get just such great flashbacks to that fucking legendary team. Man, with that being said, let's do our quick roundup. I know you forgot to take a photo because you were having such a good time, but let's talk about the round all around the US this week, guys. We had great get-togethers. San Diego, we were rocking. We had 10 people in San Diego. Shout out to Wayne. He's a season ticket holder on the West End in Leicester. He is his second time being in San Diego. He travels a lot for conferences, and so every time he's in San Diego, he gives us a shout and comes and watches the match with us. Last year, he watched us lose to Chelsea. This year, we got to celebrate properly together. So shout out to Wayne. And yeah, we had a great turnout in San Diego as always. But yeah, how'd you guys do in New York?
Yeah, it had a decent crew. I actually was not at the factory this weekend. I had an engagement that I couldn't get out of, doing a nice volunteer project in here in Queens. But everyone kind of picked up the slack for me. We had a good turnout. I was told that it was a very healthy, nice sized crowd, especially this early in the season, pre-Labor Day in New York. You never know. A lot of people travel, but it's encouraging to see that we're getting good turnouts early in the season. We've got a few special guests showing up for some games later this month. So if you're in New York, you got to get down to watch. We've got a couple Friday games coming up. So leave the office early, leave your house early, and get down and start the weekend early with us on a Friday. And so the game on the 15th is a Friday, end of the month on the 29th. I think against Blackburn, we're on a Friday also. So those are usually a lot of fun. People are out, and you've ended the work week and you're ready to have some fun. And we usually get some decent crowds for those Friday games. So if you're in New York, got to get down. One of the great friends of the pod, Larry Legend, will be up from Florida for one of those games. So I've got some really, really good friends heading over from Leicester for other games this month. So we should have some really good and fun crowds. And speaking of football factory too, I gotta wish Jack, the governor, the man who's started it all over there and just given us a home since 2011, and has figured out ways for my brother and I and other Leicester fans to watch Leicester games for many, many more years than that. It just celebrated his birthday, so happy birthday to you, Jack. From every Fox who's been fortunate enough to catch a game in your fine establishment.
Absolutely amazing, man. I've told the story too many times on here. I'm not going to go into it again, but yeah, you're asking for a guy that'll make you feel welcome in the city. You got the New York City Foxes, of course, but then Jack at the football factory is just an absolute legend of a man. So yeah, happy birthday to him. So thanks for sharing that. That's great, man. On that note, guys, we are at the end of it once again. If you can, Tuesday, get on. It's tomorrow at this point. You're probably listening to this right before the match, hopefully, if you're in the UK, or if you're US Fox, pull out that laptop and listen to the match. I think it's going to be on Fox's Hub audio only, so that'll be interesting. And that's the league that we're in now, so it's pretty good. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, bud. We'll talk to you next time on the US Foxes podcast. We keep cruising on and hopefully keep our league run going, and 3 more points against Hull this weekend.
And there's no rule against you winning a cup when you're in the second division. So let's go for it. Let's make a little cup run here.
Absolutely not. And I would love to see Enzo against some Premier League sides, see how he sets up as well. That would be great. Yeah. So 7 a.m. kickoff against Hull on the West Coast, 10 a.m. on the East Coast, and all in between. Shout out to Rochester Foxes and the Philly Foxes, who also had great meetups. And I know the Dallas Foxes also had a good meetup this week as well. So shout out to those guys. And on that note, guys, thank you for joining us as always on the US Foxes podcast. Thanks for bearing with Jay tonight as we had a little one-on-one conversation. And yeah, we'll be back to full strength next week with hopefully 3 more points and a League Cup win to celebrate. Yeah. Till next time, guys. Peace out.